Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe and click on notifications so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, A Choosing Beggar's wedding gift is to give the bride the opportunity to pay her to do her wedding makeup. Let's jump right in. Okay, so basically, this friend is someone I've known for a long time. She hops around from dream to dream, but this makeup one's been here to stay for the last 5 years. It's cool, and I'm happy for her finally finding her niche, but I've had her do my makeup before on top of seeing the work she's done to others. When she's done my makeup, she doesn't really take into account my tastes and just does what she wants, usually ending with me crying because I'm too freaked to leave the house looking like that. Her looks are very edgy, almost to a theatrical extent, erring heavily on the side of drag queen. The looks she's got in her portfolio of the 1 or 2 other weddings she's done are also in that vein. I wanted to get my makeup done by a professional who was actually going to listen to me and not use my face or wedding as a ploy to beef up her portfolio. Additionally, she knew my wedding was going to have a few local celebrities and only started pushing for this after finding out specifically who and deciding that she really wanted to get in touch with them. For months, she pestered me about this. I stayed non-committal. Then, she started telling everyone else who was a mutual friend that not only was she going to be there, she literally wasn't on the guest list. We hadn't spoken in about 7 years at that point. She was telling them all how silly I was being because the colors I'd picked out for my wedding were going to clash with what she was planning on doing for my wedding makeup, but she'd still make sure I looked good. I was just about to get fed up and call her out when her grandmother died, and the place she was living in tried to evict her and her mother. Suddenly, she needed money badly, and suddenly I was being told that my discount wasn't feasible anymore. I thought this was a perfect out for me, but then she started guilting me about how she needed to pin me down to practice my makeup and that, naturally, she'd need to charge me for that as well. Also, I would need to drive an hour south to her home for that, since she didn't have a car. Eventually, I threw her a bone. I got my makeup professionally done, as did my mother and sister, but my in-laws were staying at a hotel near where I was getting ready. This was really their first time being able to experience anything even remotely fancy. Their words. They were in awe of the hotel and all the restaurants we went to the week before the wedding, which was really sweet that we were able to treat them to all of that. I offered to pay Choosing Beggar to show up to the hotel and do the makeup of my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and 2 of my bridesmaids. On the day of the wedding, Choosing Beggar arrived late. By the time she got there, we had 2 hours before the wedding, half of which needed to be spent getting my gown in and out of a limo. Her reason for being late? She had to get ready for the wedding she actually hadn't ever been invited to. Oh, and she had a +1. So she and her date rushed through getting the makeup of my 4 people done. My in-laws were fine with it, I suspect because they didn't know any better. My cousin came out literally looking like a stripper. She had to wash it all off and redo it in the limo on the way. My best friend's eyeliner looked like a 4-year-old having a seizure did it, so I had to redo her makeup for her. And then, Choosing Beggar tried to get into the limo with my bridal party and I because she needed a ride to the wedding, which she again wasn't invited to, along with her +1. I had a cancellation that morning, so I ended up being able to get her in last minute, and overall, we all had a lovely time. I doubt anyone really remembers the whole debacle. But there's a couple of last things. The main reason I threw her that bone with my bridesmaids and in-laws was because she was making it look like she was about to be homeless and starving on her Facebook. I paid almost double what I paid my professional makeup artist at a salon per person to her as her wedding gift to me. When she got to the wedding and saw that 2 of my bridesmaids had wiped off her work and redone it themselves, she threw a huge fit saying they ruined my wedding. Nope. And then asked me for more money, implying she would sue for potential lost wages or something. because she was planning on using the professional photos the photographer was taking of my bridal party in her portfolio, and now she couldn't because that wasn't her work. Not only did she end up taking those pictures and claiming they were her work on her portfolio anyway, she did the same for close-ups of my face too. I ended up paying close to $1,000 for all 4 of them, plus tip, when only 2 people actually kept their makeup from her because she was in such a hard time. The next day, she was posting on her Facebook about how she'd come into some money and was going shopping. The day after that, she went to a convention. 2 days after that, she was at Disney World. 1 week later, her Facebook was updated to say something like, "I feel like life will always be hard no matter how I try. I work so hard and I have nothing to show for it. I'm so scared we're going to lose our home." Just farming the pity votes from her friends. It felt like a huge slap in the face. After that, we lost contact. Now, a few years later, one of those local celebrities from my wedding is supposedly planning a pretty high-profile wedding in Choosing Beggars City, so suddenly she's all up in my Instagram, Facebook, and phone asking if I can get her in with that celebrity who I don't even know that well to begin with. He's some big baseball player dating a pop singer. His little sister is my stepmom's childhood bestie. They were both at my wedding, but the wedding Choosing Beggars trying to get in on isn't even happening for another year, and it's happening on the other side of the country. They're just doing their honeymoon in Choosing Beggars City. I've now blocked her across every platform. Last I heard, she's been telling people I'm jealous because she's living her dream while I could never hack it in her industry and don't know her struggles. Whatever that means. Well, you know what they say? Give somebody a hand, and now you're walking around with one hand. Can't even clap anymore. In story 2, we have a choosing beggar who didn't want the money that was offered to him. This happened about 2 months ago, but I've only now discovered this subreddit in my newfound free time. I was outside about 7 a.m. at a location we were using for a student film I've been working on, taking notes and sketches on the space and stuff. After about 5 minutes of me walking back and forth on the street, a guy walks up and asks what I'm doing. Now, usually I do what everyone else does, say nothing and go about my business, but we were the only 2 out there, and his initial question was harmless enough, so I obliged him. This blossomed into a 10-minute conversation in which I found out we had a lot in common. We both were students, and we both came from New Jersey, both had family who were veterans, etc. Of course, after a while came the inevitable, "Hey man, now that we know each other, think you could help me out and lend me $15? Lend. The conversation wasn't all unpleasant, so I checked my wallet and I had $10. I took out $5 and told the guy he could have it, but I needed the other half to buy lunch. The guy says, "Seriously man, after all that, you're gonna do a Jersey brother like that?" I told him I literally don't have enough cash on me to afford to give him more. The guy says, "I know you got a card in there. Everyone's got a card." He gestures to a building down the street. "They got an ATM over there. Let's go over there and get some more cash." This spawned a very long argument about why I wasn't going to do that, but he kept insisting. Eventually offered to take the card over there if I'd give him my PIN, said I could watch him the whole time. No joke. I reassured him that if I had enough money to spend on ATM fees and give away to people, we'd both be happier. He walked away shouting about how everyone is a butthole these days and left me standing there with my $5 in hand. Please tell me there's no one out there that would ever give their card and PIN to some random person on the street. In story 3, we have a choosing beggar who's taking a tour of a vineyard and who doesn't seem to understand why all the wine isn't free to taste. In this wine region, if you go to cellar doors, you can get wine tastings for free. Hit up a bunch of wineries and it's a good day. Some cellars may have a premium range which they ask for a small fee to sample, but there will be many other wines you can taste for free. Any place that charges you a fee will refund the fee if you buy any wine. I went to a well-known place and tasted about 10 wines for free. They had a premium dessert range, and if I wanted to sample that, it'd be $10. I'm not into sweets, so I skipped that even though I was buying other wine. This other random couple were already there before we arrived for our tasting. They had been low-key arguing with a staff member the entire time we were walked through 10 wines, and who knows how long before we arrived. I was buying some wine, so I approached the register near the couple. The Karen in the couple was very insistent on sampling the premium dessert wines, but did not want to pay. Sweet wines are absolutely my favorite, so I will definitely buy a lot of bottles, so you should just give me a free tasting anyway. The very patient staff member was repeatedly explaining that the $10 would be immediately credited to any wine purchase. I left Karen still arguing with the staff. She could have hit another nearby winery and tasted a dozen other wines in the time she took to argue over $10. In our final story, we have a choosing beggar wife who is unhappy when the surprise her husband gave her isn't a cat. It's only a new car. She should be angry. So he bought me a Tesla Y. He pre-ordered it last year. He said he had a surprise for me and it was an hour drive for it. I seriously thought I was getting another cat. So for an hour in the car, I was planning in my head for a cat. And then he pulls into a Tesla dealership and I wanted to cry from disappointment. I'm going to take that as sarcasm and just congratulate you on your new Tesla. No, I'm serious. I was mad. It took me hours to get over it. I shouldn't have been a brat about it, but my heart was so set on a new cat. But I do love the new car. Well, some people are car people and some people are cat people. I'm a problem solver, and this is an easy problem to fix. You sell the Tesla and take some of the money to pay for a new cat for that lady, and take the rest of the money to pay for the divorce. This has been John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.